You
Bruce
know?
Springsteen's upset him. That's
Yeah.
what's happening. Kind of making a threat saying, until you get back to America, you should be quiet, and then we can deal with this when you get back. And kind of like if you get back. I mean, this is a problem where you're having the president making comments and threats to a person's free speech.
Welcome to Queen City News Plus. Order in the Court. I'm Brian Blakely.
And I'm Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rhodes.
Oh, we got another good one today, Khalif. Let's talk about President Trump is accusing Kamala Harris back in the 2024 presidential campaign of paying Beyoncé $11 million to endorse her. And he says that's illegal.
Well, he is not just saying Beyonce, Bono, Beyonce, Oprah, Bono, the list goes on. And his quote, his post says, it's not legal for these unpatriotic entertainers. This was just a corrupt and unlawful way to capitalize on a broken system. So the problem with those types of quotes are that now everyone that sees this is going to believe everything that he's saying is accurate, right? That, hey, Beyonce was paid $10 million to endorse. Well, the fact was she wasn't. So let's break this down on a couple of things. Was she paid? Her team is saying that they were never given anything to endorse. They were only paid a small amount, $165,000, and that was the production portion. This is from Oprah. Beyonce's team is saying the same thing. So these are the types of things where you put this negative thing out there, stick it on the wall and see if it sticks. Misinformation travels way faster than actual true information. So we know that, right? But the other portion with this is, even if she was paid $100 million for an endorsement, the major question is it legal or is it illegal? Trump is saying that it's legal. It's not legal. And I would say that he's wrong in this situation as well. Wrong about the fact that she was not paid, but also wrong about it being illegal. This is 100% legal. You just have to make sure that it's itemized and correctly notated on your filings for the state or for the federal government. Because it's a campaign, every dollar that you spend, if it's an in-kind contribution, meaning someone is performing for you for free, say they would normally charge $500,000. Well, now you'll have to register that as an in-kind contribution to your campaign. End of the story. This has already been debunked millions of times in terms of, are you able to pay someone for an endorsement? But if you're paying someone to perform, that happens all the time in every campaign.
Yeah, and we saw some of that in there with Bruce Springsteen. He was accusing him, and also with Oprah, Harper Productions. So a lot to be said. But also, I want to take a look here. He had this fiery True Social rant here. He's talking about it, is where he is just really saying this is illegal, talking about Bruce Springsteen. And then he's also saying how bad they were. But something really must have upset the president when he had to bring this up at this point. You know?
Bruce Springsteen's upset him. That's what's happening. So he's in other countries right now performing, and Springsteen is making jabs at the president. He's saying that this is not a democracy. They're attempting to turn it into a dictatorship. He's making a number of statements against him. So President Trump has already come at Bruce Springsteen and said, I don't like his music, never liked it, even though he was playing it at his campaign rallies, never liked his music. And he's saying he should probably not talk about the president of the United States when he's in another country. Kind of making a threat saying, until you get back to America, you should be quiet, and then we can deal with this when you get back. And kind of like if you get back. I mean, this is a problem where you're having the president making comments and threats to a person's free speech. And so we can deal with the campaign finance, but this started with a person exercising their constitutional right to free speech. Even though he's in another country, we as citizens still have a right to say something. And if you don't agree with it, you have a right to say something else. The president of the United States right now, President Trump, is coming back at Springsteen. And because of that, this is, I could assume, was the next logical step. Okay, I can't go back and forth with you on Twitter, so now I'll get the Department of Justice to come after you actually and see if what you did was legal or illegal. The funniest thing about this, Brian, is that when Trump ran, I remember vividly for like probably 2 years of him running, prior to him being indicted for his own charges, when he said that they have weaponized the Department of Justice, where he said that this is something that is a travesty to our system, that you are literally taking out political opponents and you're taking this criminal justice system that we have and making a mockery of it. But now we see him going on this revenge tour against anyone that's wronged him, anyone that's done anything against him, and he is literally making the Department of Justice go after them. This is exactly what he said the Democrats were doing, but now he is really doing it in front of all of us.
And what you see also, too, is he'll set it up with the Truth Social, which he has millions and millions of followers on Truth Social, where it wins the court of public opinion, too, to where that almost sways what he's going to be doing next with the Justice Department.
Boy, it doesn't even just sway it, Brian. This is folks that are believing what he's saying is just truth. So now you can go talk to your neighbors or someone at the grocery store, and they're going to say, man, can you believe that Kamala Harris paid Beyoncé $10 million? And wow, that's illegal. Not recognizing that both of those things that they're saying are inaccurate. Not that she wasn't paid and it is not illegal, but because he's saying it and he has a constitutional right to say it, even though I don't think as the president of the United States, you want to get into these tits for tats on social media with the citizens of our country. I know there's way more pressing things than worrying about if Springsteen was paid or not during the Harris campaign.
Well, the Harris campaign says they did pay Beyonce's company $165,000 for event production there. Beyonce publicly endorsed Harris, as we know, at the rally and allowed her campaign to use the song Freedom. But her mother has denied any payment for any kind of endorsement here.
Tina Knowles came out and said that because she saw that this was out there. She saw this story had a little bit of traction and wanted to address it. But those types of payments, so even if they said, okay, we only paid her $165,000, there's nothing wrong with that. If I'm advising the campaign, the very first thing I'm saying is make sure you itemize all $165,000. If we cut a check for staging, if we did it for tables, if we did it for lighting, if we did it for sound, if we did it for food, those are all the types of things that you're going to have to itemize when you're talking about expenses that come out on your campaign finance report. Because if you don't, yes, you will get dinged. Yes, that is illegal to fail to properly report and record how you do expenditures. And I overemphasize, even if it's an in-kind receipt. So if someone gives you a campaign contribution, if it's in kind, if they're saying, I'm just going to do this for you for free, then yeah, you're still going to have to document, register, and account for that. Campaign finance is a way to burn a campaign and burn any type of political credit that you have, because at the end of the day, no one wants to have a person representing them if they can't even get their numbers right during their campaign. So yes, I think that if this was illegal, this would be something that I think the president would have teeth to, but it's not illegal. If they actually made the contribution, it wouldn't be illegal. So I think this is a non-starter. But in typical Trump fashion, we will have the Department of Justice now looking into this and figuring out if there's any way to punish and penalize the former president and any of these other people that have spoken out against him in the past. It's just, to me, laughable that this is the very person that talked about these types of things occurring being something that we should not have happen, right?
Yeah, the projection is what we've seen a lot here, but I think you've kind of hinted at it already right now about where this is going to go. Where is this going to possibly end?
I mean, because it's no court filing, right? Because it hasn't made its way into any type of proceeding, I wouldn't be able to say, I think this thing will end and be dead on arrival. I think they'll do an investigation. And at the end of their investigation, if they're looking at a plain reading of the law, they'll be able to see that a plain reading of the law says that these types of things are legal within campaigns, and that nothing that was done within the campaign was outside of the legal norm. Specifically, if everything is as the Harris campaign has said is true, that we have only paid for production, that we was $165,000 and it wasn't $10 million, then I think that's a no-brainer. But even if they say, well, you know what, hold up, we forgot, we actually did pay her $10 million and it's on our finance statement, I still think it's a non-issue because you can also do that. So I'm not sure where they plan on going with this, except for not just in the court of public opinion, but this is looking forward. This is midterms type of things. If you're doubling down on the Democrats are already like that, I need to drain the swamp and I need to make sure that folks we're getting rid of all the bad actors. Or what better way to show that we have a bad actor than the person that was on the top of the ticket? So this is, I think, more of that than anything else.
All right. We'll leave it right there. Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rose, thanks. I'm Brian Blakely. You're watching Order in the Court on the Queen City News Plus app. Brian Blakely from Queen City News here. If you enjoyed watching this content, be sure to download and watch our full series of Queen City News Plus originals on our app. You can find Queen City News Plus using your streaming devices, including Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, and Apple TV. Just search the name Queen City News Plus. Your support will help us to continue our series. Thanks for watching.